If you're a music studio owner looking to get better results, better engagement, more customers on Instagram, you're going to for sure want to watch this video. It's actually video one of a two-part series on marketing your music studio on Instagram. Be sure to click that little subscribe button on the lower right-hand corner of this video so you can get updates for whenever a new video drops. On with the episode. This is part one of a two-part series all about Instagram. Part one is going to be focused more on the creative side of Instagram, and then part two is going to be focused more on the technical or the back end side of Instagram. I really got the idea for doing this podcast after running a survey in the Facebook group Music Lessons in Marketing. I'm going to share with you the results from that survey, but if you are not a member of that Facebook group, we'd love for you to join us. Hop on over to Facebook, Music Lessons in Marketing, and join the conversation. So the question that I posed in the Facebook group was, what type of different Instagram posts are music studio owners doing? And I'll share with you now the results from the survey. Number one, student performance is the number one type of post that music studios are doing that received 10 different votes. So that could include kids playing their instruments in lessons and recitals and in concerts. It's an obvious one. I wasn't surprised that that was number one. Number two, that received 7 votes, was behind the scenes, showing life in the music studio beyond just the lesson. And then promotions was number 3, that received 4 votes. Studio news that received 3 votes. Another option was awards, that received 3 votes. And then someone wrote in the option that they don't know where to begin with Instagram, and that received 3 votes. So based on this survey, student performance and behind the scenes activities were number 1 and number 2. And it's interesting, people saying that they don't know where to begin with Instagram. Quick aside about that. If you don't know how to do something, or if you don't know where to begin, that's an excuse. The answer is sitting in your back pocket. Pull out your cell phone and Google how to fill in the blank. How to begin with Instagram. A beginner's guide to Instagram. How to get started on Instagram. These are all just obvious Google searches. Begin with there. Or begin there. Really, you're making up excuses for yourself. And Instagram is so easy to do. I am sure that these 3 people who said that they don't know where to begin are probably on Facebook. And they probably felt that way about Facebook at the beginning, that they didn't know where to begin. And now they look at Facebook and they think, wow, this is really easy to do. Guess what? Instagram is also really easy to do. But you got to get started. And starting off with the Google search is a great way to go. I was surprised that awards didn't receive more votes. One thing that I see a lot on Instagram is music studios featuring kids holding up awards, holding up trophies. I've seen a music studio that's all they do is one pick after another is kids holding up their award or their trophy. Another thing that I was surprised wasn't mentioned is musical humor. I see a lot of studios that do jokes or cartoons about music. I'm sure you've all seen the treble and bass, cartoons. I've seen some jokes where it's a cartoon and the message is being communicated through sheet music, through the notes on the staff. Hey, and that's fine if your ideal customer is a musician, a seasoned enough musician to even know what those things are. Now, some of your students will get those jokes, and that's what's cool about it. Instagram, I'll talk about it in a second, is that unlike Facebook, Instagram does allow you to communicate with parents and with kids. But I do encourage you to ask yourself, out of your, let's say you've got 150 students, out of those 150 students, what percentage of them are musically developed enough to understand some of that musical humor. Okay, but speaking of your audience, let's break down who is most likely your audience on Instagram, or who would you like your audience to be? Obviously, you want your current parents to be following you on Instagram, and you also want your current students. Like I said before, that's what's nice about Instagram is both adults and kids are on it. And most likely what's going to happen to Instagram is what happened with Facebook, is where as more and more adults move in, more and more younger kids move off. And we're seeing that already with TikTok and Snapchat. But obviously, you also want your audience to be prospective customers, parents between the ages of 30 and 50, parents between those ages who live in your market. So being mindful of those three different audiences can really help determine what your Instagram strategy should be. Question I encourage you to ask yourself is, what do you want to achieve on Instagram? Do you want more sales? Do you want more engagement, more followers? You probably want all of the above. So if that's the case, some of your posts have to be designed for sales. Some have to be about engagement. Some have to be also about attracting more followers. Okay, so let's jump in to Instagram here, and I want to start off with a quote by John Jantsch. John Jantsch is the author of The Referral Engine and Duct Tape Marketing. I'm not sure. I think it's Duct Tape Marketing. He said that you should think of your business as a publishing company, which is a completely different way to think about your music studio, that you're constantly publishing material. To think of all these, digital tools you use, these digital platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, use these, YouTube, of course, use these as opportunities to publish content. What type of content? Well, let's break it down. Entertainment, culture building, selling or sales, engagement, and education or added value. These are the 5 different post types I encourage you to consider when you're on Instagram or any other social media platform. Entertainment, culture building, sales, engagement, education. So let me break these down. And we can reference back to that initial survey to see how these music studios are embracing these 5 different post types. Now, granted, the survey only featured 25 music studios, so that's not a great representation of the industry at large. Instagram posts that entertain are an opportunity for you to attract people that don't have any current interest in your music studio, who don't really have any awareness of your music studio. For example, if you created post of your students making videos with their pets, everyone loves pets on Instagram and Facebook. Having your students create comedy skits. You can, if you look at the summer camp program I put together, the Summer Music Project, where it was a YouTube show, and the kids created skits and commercials. You could break those up into 60-second or 2-minute videos to put up on Instagram. The whole function of those is to be entertaining, to stop moms in their tracks who really aren't necessarily thinking about music lessons, but are drawn to those videos because of what's being featured in those videos. Videos that are cute, that have a sense of comedy to them. Videos that are holiday themed, or posts that are holiday themed. In the next episode, I want to talk about video and images as to which strategy is going to work best for you. So I'm just going to kind of touch, broadly on these ideas. What kind of posts can you create that exists purely for the purpose of entertainment? It's a great way to get new eyes on your business. And you know what? It's fun for the kids. If you can create a framework for your students for creating videos at home, or create a framework for skits that they can do even at the school, interviewing students, all of that can be a source of entertainment. The next post type to consider is culture building, making your current students feeling more connected through social media, celebrating your students through social media, displaying your culture in the studio through through social media. You can do behind the scenes videos, which got a lot of votes in the poll. Maybe it's, you know, just joking around with the office staff. Perhaps it's talking to parents in the waiting area. These types of videos will capture attention from people who aren't in your studio. If the video, if something about the video is eye-catching. This gets back into, you know, what we're going to talk about next week is how your space is designed and thinking about the interior of your space in terms of how it's going to look in video, how it's going to look in a photograph, because that's going to determine how it looks on social media. And the big one that everyone's doing, most people are doing, are kids playing their instruments or student performances. Those definitely have internal appeal to your current customers. And they do have some appeal to people who maybe aren't actively engaged with your brand. I do encourage you to be careful about posting videos of kids playing music when the kid doesn't necessarily sound good. Hey, mom's going to feel good about it. The kid's going to feel good about it. But when someone who's not a part of your studio, a part of your culture, scrolls down and they click on it to listen to it, and the kid can't play time or is fumbling all over his notes, it might not have the impact on that person that you'd hope for. That video is not going to cross over into the realm of entertainment. The video of the kid that can really play well, that now becomes entertaining, which is what's so great about music studios is it doesn't take much for you to create a video that has some entertainment value to it. Student awards, you know, the kid holding the trophy or the little certificate. That's really going to only have appeal to the kid and the parent. And then maybe if that parent shares the post. It's not going to have broad appeal. See a lot of studios leaning in with these student awards as being their main play on social media. I think it's fine to put into your strategy, which we're going to talk about strategy next week, but you want to have a nice balance between these different post types. The kid holding up the sheet of paper is not going to have as much appeal as three of your students clowning around at your studio having a good time and capturing that on video. Studio news, that's something that was also received 3 votes in the survey, where you do a post on, hey, we're going to be closed, next week. Or, recital, the reminder, recital is, next week. That type of post is only internal. If I'm scrolling down Instagram and I see that, that message I know is not for me because I'm not in the studio. If you feel that those posts are helpful in terms of getting that message out, I know it's frustrating. You do the emails, the text, seems like no one seems to ever know when that recital is. And if you feel like going on the Instagram is going to be helpful, and it is helpful, great. But just know that has little appeal to anyone outside of your music studio. If you think the student awards pictures has minimal appeal on a broad base, the studio news even less so. But can you turn that studio news into something creative that the setting or the way it's presented now becomes of greater interest? What if you set up this mock little cable news station at your music studio? You get a table, you throw a black tablecloth over it, you create some type of backdrop, maybe you have a green screen behind it, and you pull up some kind of cable news channel looking image, and you have this news microphone, and students dress up like news personalities, and they do the weekly news that way over Instagram. Now that is going to catch people's eyes. People who are not a part of your studio are going to go, huh, what's this? Wait, what's this kid dressed up in a suit doing news? That looks cute. I'm curious. I'm going to give it a listen. So focus on how your culture would be of interest to the non-student. Documenting your studio's culture allows you to inject life into your Instagram account. It creates a connection with your ideal client. Tell stories about your customers. You can use Instagram as a little portal into what your studio looks like, feels like, and believes in. Okay, so let's talk about sales. Instagram's a great place to make sales. Those little promotions, $40 off if you enroll in lessons by September 20th, but you want to be strategic about those types of posts. You don't want to only use your Instagram account for that. Or you certainly don't want to overuse your Instagram account with selling all the time. Remember, you're on a social media platform. So social is the name of the game, not selling. Which leads me to the next category, engagement. This is the real social part of social media. And from the survey that I did on Facebook, nobody was talking about engagement. Engagement would be posts where you're asking a question, where you're speaking directly to people, you're soliciting a response from them. These questions don't necessarily and probably shouldn't be about music. To go back to, who are you trying to appeal to with your Instagram account? Are you trying to appeal to musicians, people like you, or are you trying to appeal to moms who might be interested in music lessons? Are you trying to appeal to kids who can play really well? Or are you trying to appeal to kids that don't know how to play and might become interested in playing? This is where you need to really understand and know your ideal customer and ask them questions that they're going to be excited to answer. What type of things are moms in your community currently thinking about, currently worried about? And how can you ask a question that is going to be inviting for them to answer and perhaps even therapeutic for them? This is where the engagement factor comes in. They might see your question and have no idea what business this is coming from. I mean, they'll see once they look up and see, oh, this is from Springfield Music Academy. I don't know who they are, but I really like this question because I have been thinking about this. I'm curious to hear what other moms have to say about this. You then begin to position yourself as someone that they like, someone that they trust, and someone that they might eventually buy from. If your strategy on Instagram is just to get sales, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. If you're using Instagram as a way to celebrate your students, to attract followers who can eventually become customers, you'll be much more pleased with with the results you get on Instagram. Last, I want to talk about education and adding value on Instagram. Inspirational quotes is a great way to do it. Quotes about parenting, quotes about kids. What is your ideal customer interested in? Find that out. You're only going to find out by asking them. And then find quotes that relate to that topic. Let's say your ideal customer is really into fitness. Well, then maybe you find some good quotes about fitness. Post them, create a nice little image in Canva and post it on Instagram. It has nothing to do with music, of course, but it has everything to do with your customer and your customer's interest. I would avoid quotes about music, quotes that Jimi Hendrix said. I shouldn't say avoid them. I'd be selective in how you use them. I mean, it's, something expected of a music studio. If you quote something inspiring that Ludwig van Beethoven said about music, okay, that's expected of a music studio. But hey, I'm a 35-year-old mom. I'm not that really, I don't know. I don't really know Beethoven's music. I find it a little bit boring. I just didn't grow up listening to that. That's just not going to register with me. If I'm a current customer and I'm really connected with your brand, that might register a little bit more with me. Also, local interest, focusing on local interest. Let's say Italian cuisine is really popular in your city. So you ask a question, what is your favorite local Italian restaurant? Or making a video on the top 5 family events to do this weekend in your city. That's educating and adding value. You're providing information, providing inspiration to your ideal customer. Okay, so this concludes the creative side and a very broad level, the creative side of Instagram in different post types. Next episode, we're really going to get into the nuts and bolts of making your Instagram account work for you.